I've got a question for you. Can you live without credit cards and still live like a normal person? Well, yes and no. You can live without credit cards, but you certainly won't be a normal person if you do. And I think that's a good thing. Think about it. The average family has over $15,000 in credit card debt. When you have that much debt, it's costing you a huge amount of interest and fees to carry that debt every single month. That's money you could be using for a lot of things other than the privilege of owing somebody else a pile of money. Now, before I get into how you can live without credit cards, I think it's important to bust a few myths that most people believe about credit cards. Credit card companies really want you to believe these myths so they can keep you hooked. But when it comes down to it, overcoming these false beliefs about credit cards is going to set you free in a huge way. So let's bust some of these myths real quick here. First is the myth that you need a credit card to rent a car. Now, most rental companies have no problem renting you a car using a debit card. I've done it literally dozens of times over the years with absolutely no hassle. So that myth is busted. The next myth is that you need a credit card to rent a hotel room. I have never been to a hotel that wouldn't accept a debit card for the reservation and for the payment. Doesn't matter if it's a cheap hotel or a very expensive one. It's just not an issue. Myth busted. One of the most popular myths is that you need a credit card in case of an emergency. But if you take the time to put a proper emergency fund in place, even a small one, you'll be able to pay cash when that emergency comes along. Why would you want to put it on a credit card and then have to pay it off over months or years and carrying a balance while you're paying it off? When you use a little forethought and put together an emergency fund, a credit card is the last thing you'll need. So that myth is busted too. Ooh, now here's a biggie. It's the myth that you need a credit card to keep a good credit score. Even though using a credit card can help you build and maintain a good credit score, you really don't have to have one to keep a good score. You can do that using other types of debt, which I don't recommend, by the way. In fact, I believe you don't need a credit score at all, but that's another topic for another day. I wrote about why you don't need a credit score not too long ago, and you can find that in the link that I provide in the description for this video. So, as you can see, the common excuses for using credit cards just don't hold up to the truth. Most people just blindly believe these myths because the credit card companies are so good at marketing, they create this herd mentality that says everybody has to have one. But does getting money advice from a credit card company seem like a good idea to you? I don't think so. So once you realize credit cards aren't necessary to your financial well-being, what do you do then? Well, the first thing you got to do is you have to commit to getting rid of your credit cards for good. You have to decide that you don't want to be like everybody else out there. You don't want to keep falling prey to the marketing hype and the never-ending payments that keep depleting your paycheck month after month. Commit yourself to laying down the credit cards for good and never using them again, not even for an emergency. Go ahead, cut them up and forget about them forever. I did it and you can do it too. So once you've decided to commit to a credit card-free life, what do you do next? Well, you have to make a plan. Going without credit cards feels a little weird at first. In fact, you're going to feel kind of naked. But that's okay. This is the good kind of naked, not the mother-in-law walking in on you kind of naked. Anyway, cutting up the credit cards and committing is only half the game. When you fully commit to a change in lifestyle like going cash only, you got to have a plan. And any good plan for going cash only should include at least two important parts: a budget and an envelope system. So why do you need a budget? Well, you need a written budget because now you're spending only what you have instead of spending more than you make, which is easy to do when you're using credit cards. Do a zero-based, balanced budget and give every dollar a job to do. Check the description for this video where you'll find links to my CFF budgeting page that'll show you everything you need to know about making a budget. Next, your best bet is to start using an envelope system for spending your money, because from here on out you're going to be using cash and cash-based transactions like debit cards and checks. You can even still use your favorite payment app if you want, as long as you only have it linked to your debit card. I also wrote a post about getting started with an envelope system, and I've included a link to that in the description for this video as well. So when you finally commit to living without credit cards and you change your habits accordingly, you're going to find that it feels a little weird at first. And that's because anytime you're starting a new habit, it feels kind of strange. But in a very short time, it becomes normal, and you'll wonder why you didn't get rid of the credit cards a long time ago. I remember when Angie and I finally cut up all our credit cards for good. I'll be honest, I was a little concerned. It just felt kind of weird. But as we started doing a budget and using our envelope system for a few months, it finally became our new normal, and it just made sense. And the great thing is, we were no longer spending more than we made on crap that we didn't need. We started thinking more about how we spent our money instead of blindly swiping and signing for every transaction. And that is what's made all the difference in our finances. The great thing is, anybody can do it, even you. I don't care if you're deep in debt and depend on credit cards to get you through the month. When you're willing to commit to the process, you can make it work. And you'll never have to give those stinking credit card companies another dime ever again. For more great content, you can visit the Celebrating Financial Freedom blog and check out my YouTube channel. And while you're there, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Be blessed and celebrate financial freedom.